What is going on? Y'all already know it is Tuesday. It's going down. Another episode of Comic Relief. I'm excited about today. I've been waiting to do this show for so long, and I hope y'all ready to tune in and check it out with us. You know what? Let's get into it. What is going on?
Brother.
Chilling, brother. How you been, man?
Good. Hanging in there.
Hanging in there. That's what I'm talking about. Are you excited about today? I'm excited, bro.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
Let's get it, brother.
Yeah, I've been waiting to do this for a minute, and it's just like with everything going on today too. I feel like we need to have this type of discussion right about now. You know what I'm saying? So if none other, let's just get into it because I don't want to waste any more time because we got people in the background, we got people in the chat ready to hang out with us. So let's just start this show. So I'm gonna start the show with two amazing women in our community because I know usually I have one guest, but I felt today because of the topic, I wanted to make it a full panel here. So I wanted to have two men, two women to really have this real discussion that we're going to have right now. So before I bring them in, I just want to let them know they're amazing people in the community. If you ain't following them, make sure you follow them because they represent for the real comic collectors. And here we go. We got Mama Comics. If you already know her as Lucy, here she is representing. And we got, of course, the homie, Jen. Comics will break your heart, and they will.
Yes, they will.
How y'all doing?
And your wallet.
What's going on, guys? What's going? You know what? Before we continue, let's put the ladies on top. Let's put the ladies on top because, you know what I'm saying? Let's switch it up. We got to show some love, show respect to the queens in the building. And all right, so real quick, let's just go to the chat before we chop it up, guys, because I know we got people in here. They've been in here waiting for a while now. And I see the chat was popping. That's what's up. Shout out to Ragin, Cajun. What's good, George? Salute to you, man. Brother? Always in the building, hanging out with us. Of course, we got the homie, Big Soul Collector, big homie. And we got another homie, Leroy. What's going on, man? Salute. Appreciate you, man, for hanging out with us. Let's see you. Oh, Big John, what's good,
Big
man?
John, what's up, brother?
What's going on, man? Thank you for always hanging out. Oh, it's been a while. I haven't seen this brother. Matt, what's good, man? How you doing, man? Hope everything is well with you, brother. Thanks for holding down the fort. And let's see who else we got here. Skipping on me. Oh, and we got Chi Comic Girl. What's going on?
What's happening?
Salute. Thank you for coming in, hanging out with us. Of course, we got the homie with the best handle in the world, Uncanny Swag.
No doubt.
Killing it, And of course, we got Damus Covis in the building. What's good?
The professor.
The professor. You know the professor. And we got that Comic Girl. Salute. Thank you for hanging out. Oh, that's right. There you go. There you go. And we got Coco Gal. Was good.
Oh, my
was
girl.
Good. Chilling. All right, we got JT up in the building.
What's up, John?
And we got the man of the hour, Justin. What is going on? Salute to you, my brother. We were just talking about you. I know your ears are ringing. Just talking about you. Definitely, brother. You already know we're going to get to that right now. We might as well do that. Salute to everybody who has a drink in their hand. If you don't worry about it. We got one for you. So cheers. Salute to everybody in the building.
Cheers.
Got my water.
That works.
Drink.
I got some tea. We got some tea. We got the beers. Let's get it.
Water works.
Let's go.
I can't drink, so can't drink at the moment. In the future.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Real quick. Once again, for those who didn't know, congratulations, Mama. She's pregnant. How many months are you now?
6 months.
6 months. Ooh, almost there. We're in the second trimester, heading into the third trimester.
Yes, I'm in. Yeah. This week is my last week of my second trimester.
Second trimester, right? Yes. Yeah, I got 3 of my own. I'm well schooled. So yes. Who else we got here? Oh, we got Design Comics, bro. Got to give a shout out to Design.
Nigel, what's going on?
Big Nige in the building, man. Always representing. That's a good brother right there. Oh, we got Inja. What's good? Salute, homie, in the building as usual. Let's see who else we got because it's like jumping up on me. All right, so we caught up, guys. I think it's ready to go down. We ready to get this today. We are talking about the double standards in the gender roles in the comic community and outside as well, and this is a topic I've been wanting to have for a long time, and I know it's a very touchy topic. It could get very crazy, and we do hope to trigger some people today, and I know we will. And if you're catching the replay, make sure you hit that like and make sure you subscribe and make sure you follow everybody. Their link is in the description. And so, yeah, we're going to just get into it, man. You know, and I see a lot of that going on right now in the community. I'll set it off real quick. You know, I see a lot of from my perspective, right? From being a male, right? From my perspective, from what I'm seeing is when it comes to the women in the community, you know, I'm noticing that there's very few women in the community that actually appreciate the comic books, that actually do it for the comic books, you know, because I see a lot of stuff on my feed, man, that I'm like, what is going on here? You know, when I see girls pretty much half naked, you know, and they holding up, you know, garbage books, and it's like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, why are we really doing this? You know, are you doing this for the followers, the likes? Well, you got a music career, you're gonna try to drop on us or something. You know what I mean? Like, once you get to a certain following, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, by the way, check out my album. I don't know. But what I do know is that it looks very whack. You know, we you know, when you got somebody like us, like real, like I would consider myself a man, because those type of things don't sway you. You know what I mean? As a man, you know, you're not a thirst bucket. Maybe when you're young, you know what I mean, you see something like that, you go crazy. But when you're a grown-ass man, things like that, you're just like, what are you doing? You look ridiculous. Like, stop it. You know? And so when I see stuff like that in the community, and then you see people all supporting that stuff, it's like, damn, you know, that's not, you know,
they're getting a lot of attention in the community, but it's not necessarily because of comics.
The right attention, right? It's not the right attention, you know. And that, so then when you look at it, so then you're like, damn, these, you know, and because of their attention and their following, they're gonna get those algorithms, so they're gonna continue to populate, you know, your feed and get into, you know, and expand and keep growing, you know, and pushing that out there. So with that being said, I'm just like, you know, to start it off with just that alone, you know, those are things that I see that you look at and you're like, man, because then as a dude, right? As a dude, we're like, yo, I'm dropping fire every day. I'm putting out heat every day. I'm hunting all week. I'm busting my ass. I'm dropping these books that people are like, yo, where you get this from? And I still got like 500 followers, son. Like, what is going on here? I'm giving you full descriptions. I'm giving you everything. I'm breaking down the comic. You know, I'm doing the work. You know, like, what I gotta do? Take my shirt off? But then now then it's like it's not gonna be for the women. It's not gonna be, I'm gonna attract the wrong for me. I'm saying.
Okay, honestly, I think with that, I think sometimes it has to do with the algorithm, that right. But there's some that I see, like right now, Coco Gal, she's in here. I love her. We're tight, and I love her page because not only she has freaking awesome books, but like the way she posts things is like in her when she posts her tagline or whatever, like she'll do something funny, right? Like she doesn't take anything serious. She doesn't, like, you know, I don't know her. I see her as a different thing, but we all know she has like amazing books, you know, and she is a comic collector, reader, and she's been collecting for years and stuff like that. But go ahead, Jen. Go.
Oh no, sorry if I interrupted.
Okay. and then there's the other ones that you can tell, like, for example, I might put somebody out there. I'm not gonna mention her name, but she came out of nowhere and was like posting few books. Very cute girl, whatever, trying to be sexy, and right away selling. And it seemed that she didn't know what she was selling, really, right? And paying for like the sponsor ads things and whatever. And I was just like, oh, and people are just eating it up. And I'm like, where's this coming from? Like, you know, I don't know where she has like 8,000 followers and all this. And I'm like, dang, I've been in this community too, like since 2017. That's when I opened and it's not like I'm pushing to get those 8,000 followers. I don't care. If you follow me, cool. If you don't, I still don't care, you know, like you're gonna follow me for, I guess, what I post, you know, and I'm not gonna be first, I'm a mom. You know,
Right, exactly.
I don't want my son later on to get on Instagram and see my boobs all over the
Right.
screen, you know, or with
Yeah.
his friends. Now he's in middle school. I don't want, you know, to see me like that. That's just me because you know, because I'm a mom, you
Right.
know,
Exactly.
and I have always been a little bit. My mom will always say like you're gonna put yourself out there, and that's how people are gonna treat you, the way you put yourself out there, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just there, I feel like there is those accounts that even though they're cute and sexy and stuff like that, but they know what they're doing, they know what books they have, there are collectors and all that.
No,
There's like
see,
two different
that's what I'm
types.
not talking about them.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the ones that don't know shit,
don't know.
ain't
Mhm.
talking, ain't reading those books, ain't really about that life, ain't here for
Yep.
that. They're not here for that. You know what I mean? They're here for something totally else, you know, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like, I don't know what they're here for, but they're not here for the books.
Attention.
Here, here's I am going to be a little bit I'm going to come out of left field a little bit, maybe. Like I'm here to maybe give a little bit of, like, I guess, my opinion in this. I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, I'm here for my slut counterparts. Like, if there is, seriously though, like, if there is someone who is like, whether whatever gender presentation that they have, whether they female, non-binary, male, whoever they are, if they want to be a slut for comics and they want to show off their body a little bit and show off some comics, I'm here for it. And I'm going to say, go ahead and do it. And I think that a lot of times women are going to be the ones that are like, look at that girl, she's scantily clad, look, she's showing off her cleavage, or she's showing off her shoulders, and it's like, she doesn't actually read the books. How do we know that? Like, how do we know that she hasn't read the books? Because I assure you, I have been following like comic book YouTube and like comic book news in general, and I assure you 90% of the accounts that have male hosts don't read their damn books. Like, a lot of these men are out here not actually reading the books. They're just like, oh, look at this Hulk 181 that I've got. And I guarantee you they've probably never read the story. They're just like, oh, it's going to be a first appearance. And they haven't read the book.
Yeah.
I don't hear them talking about stories whatsoever. Maybe they knew about some stories that happened 20, 30 years ago, but they have no clue the state of current comic books or what's been going on the last 20, 30 years. But we don't necessarily give them shit because we're like, oh, they're doing it the right way. They're not scantily clad. So I'm here for my comic book hoes, and I'm here, if you want, I'm here to say, like, if you're here to be scantily clad and talk about comic books, do it, because I assure you that me dressed in a baggy ass Storm sweater, I will get accused of some dumb shit just because I'm a female in comic books. No matter what, women are still going to be sexualized no matter what. Even though I'm here to read all the books and I'm here to talk about the books every week, I assure you we're still going to be treated just as badly as the ones not doing it right. And I think that when we start to say as a community, like, oh, that girl that's scantily clad who's, not reading the books, we're gatekeeping because we're saying she's not allowed to like comic books. She may know the comic books better than 90% of the comic book dude YouTube. So
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's like, I feel like there's the two. Well, there's a bunch of different types of things like that, because like I said, like Coco Gal, I love her and the way I love her pose. There's another girl, I can't remember her name, and she is the cutest girl. She's the cutest girl,
That's it. I know, man.
That's it. I'm here for the books.
Yeah.
This is why y'all want to know. This is because I know many of men, that front, that don't know their books. Me and PJ run into them all the time because we know our books, so we constantly challenging, and it's like, we know them, we run into them and we call them out. We talk about them all the time. We're the Muppets, those two guys that were up, that's me and PJ, right? We
the two grumpy old,
right? We're grumpy old guys that have
Waldorf and Statler or something.
Our opinions are fall equally on everybody. There's no like, favoritism here.
I would say the distinction is the eye candy those guys typically do is like slabs and shit. Like they don't show themselves in like their boobs or whatever, but they'll hold like a 9/8 slab, and somehow I guess we're supposed to assume like there's some comic god because they bought like a 9/8 slab, and like Morb said, they usually don't know shit. So it is the same difference.
They don't know shit about it. They know all about the grade, but they don't know about the book. Like we were saying,
they'll tell you the price, the GPA, the sales, blah
all
blah
this
blah.
Shit
but they
with
don't know shit.
Rates and
talk to me about the story.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? And that's something that we said last show, that we were saying, talk to me about the book, not the grade. You know what I mean? I don't care about the grade. Let's talk about the book.
Yeah.
And it's out there. Yeah, you was gonna say something, Lucy?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that this girl, like I love that she is so sexy. I think she's so beautiful. And yeah, like Jen said, she shows more, and I think I'm in love with this girl. Like she's just gorgeous, And me and Coco Gal always say how beautiful she is, and like doesn't matter what she wears, she just like she gets that attention that I don't know, she's just gorgeous. And I want to say, oh my god, I'm horrible. My brain, I have pregnancy brain. I forget, so I forget her name because when people don't follow her because she's a beautiful woman. And but yeah, there's like different. Obviously, there's different types of people in our community, and there's some that I do. I'm not gonna lie, I judge because I'm like, what the. I
mean, everybody's gonna see that. Right?
Yeah.
If I see the problem is sometimes though they're like, I get what you were saying. She's a beautiful girl and she knows she's about her books and she knows about them. So, but like sometimes you'll see the picture and it's like the little corner in the bottom you'll see a book and then the rest is all, and it's like then just post a picture of yourself. Why even include the book? Like it's not even. That's obviously not. You're not really trying to showcase the book. You're trying to showcase yourself.
But we're not,
and not only that, not only to blame them because like when I see and people they do comment about her book and stuff like that. I'm gonna put a little example like I don't really post pictures like that, right? That's just me. But the other day I put on like. It's like not only blame the woman for going, it's like for going for posting that, but also like, when they get all those nasty comments, it's like, well, she opened the door for that, and it's like, okay. And I was thinking like, I never put like on Instagram, like ask me a question. I hardly ever do it because I forget to answer. And I did it. And then of course I forgot to answer a lot of them, but one of the first ones was like, and Coco Gad's gonna laugh because I sent her the screenshot right away, and it's like, "What's your broad size?" And I was like, "Usually this is like what I show and everything, like I don't." And I'm like, "Okay," like, and then I was telling my husband about it, and I was like, "Well, I guess I kind of opened the door for that kind of question," but then I'm thinking, it's like, wait a minute. Why am I blaming myself for that? Why am I blaming for him being a perv? Why am I didn't think about it till like today, and then my husband's like, well, like, and I didn't think about, I'm like, no, he's on the wrong, not me, because the rest of the questions was like nothing about that. That was the only, and this person I didn't even, like I was not following this person. I have never, interact with this person, so I was just like, oh, so you only come to ask me that question, which I'm not going to answer. Yeah, it's like it's not like unless you're going to buy me a bra, I will answer.
Funny you say that because if y'all know Theo, and me and him Rage, we build a lot, we talk a lot, and he's told me he get hit up in his DM from women who, being very disrespectful. You know what I mean? So he's like, yo, this goes both ways, because he's like, I be getting hit and I'd clearly be like, yeah, I'm married, I'm with my kids right now. And they'd be like, okay, so what? Like, what's good? And it's
so sorry, who was that?
That was Rage Theo.
Oh, dang, look at him getting all those Tell his wife to answer for him. Just kidding.
Yeah, because hold on a second.
Someone asked him about his bra size.
No, but she wanted to get in his pants. She wanted to get in his pants just the same way bra size, the way it wanted to get into your pants, right? So the way women do it are different. Women don't ask us what size our underwear are; they go about it differently. You know what I mean? So
what's the other size?
You know what I'm saying? No, that's because men, we both have different ways of approaching. You know, the majority have a different way of approaching. So when you tell a woman, "Hey, I'm married. You know, I'm good. What book do you want?" and she clearly does not listen to that and still keeps gunning for the whole, "Hey, when we're gonna get up, when we're gonna hang out." What is she implying? I want to get in your pants, right? So it's just the way you look at it. This is why I like to have these conversations, because it really shows that this is on both sides, but we both do it differently. Just because we, do it, and then at the same time, it's like, because we do it differently doesn't mean we're not experiencing the same things. We are experiencing the same emotion. It's just done in a different way. We're experiencing it in a different way. So yes, you guys experience it very pervertedly. We experience it very seductively. You know what I mean? So it's very different to us,
I think a lot of that has to do with just, how society has treated female presenting people, where it's like women, I can assure you, are equally as sexually, maybe like, obviously, like, I think that women, for the most part, but we're punished for talking about our sexuality. I'm just going to call it out in the same way that we say, like, hey, like, we see a scantily dressed woman on social media. She must be doing it for the attention. Like, men do the dumbest shit for attention.
Of course. The only problem is that I don't see it. Like, because I'm a
and I think that women, and I think it's
because I wanted you guys on.
We do, because a woman, even if we don't show skin off, or even if we, we still get treated, even if we just do simple ask me anything, it's like, well, what's your bra size? Oh, well, she was asking for that. Don't put yourself out there if you don't want the question asked. And I think that I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to men, but I think that it does happen to women more often. And we get punished. We get punished for speaking out about our sexuality, and we get punished when we do. We get punished if we don't. And I think that it happens to men, but I think it happens a lot more to women.
Like me, obviously, I do have big boobs, and it's really hard for me to hide, and not that I hide them. It's just like, no matter what I do, I'm gonna show cleavage. Even if I take a regular picture, they're gonna be there. It doesn't matter what I do, And then obviously I'm gonna get those comments, or I'm gonna get those because, like, I didn't cover enough, or whatever. But it's like, and since I've growing up, like, I have always felt that I needed a cover so I don't get that type of attention, And now, like, I do. I judge people for, and not all of them. There's certain ones. There's certain ones, but not all of them that there's some that I'm like, I praise them, and I'm like, I wish I have that confidence, because obviously I don't, because I try to hide it. But there, I don't, like, I battle with myself. It's like, I'm like, what is that? Like, and then there's some other, I'm like, you go, girl, do it. And I like it, and I guess maybe probably it's just the person itself and not what they're doing. I don't know, but then I feel about the same thing about men. There's some men that they get praised for, like, stupid stuff, and I'm like, why? Why? Like, are we seeing the same thing? Like, okay.
I'm a community. I see a lot of it. Trust me.
As someone who is part of this, like, I'm just going to say it, as someone who is part of the small titty club, like, people we're going to get negative or positive attention, whatever you may see. Like, people are still going to objectify us. People are still going to say shitty things about us. People are still going to say what they think are compliments to us. They may think it's a compliment, but it may be not, because I'm sure the person who reached out and was like, what are the bra size? I'm sure they were like, oh, it's a compliment, honey. Like, so, you know, people are going to be shitty, and that's on them. It's not on you. It's their behavior, not yours.
So true.
Exactly. You know, it all falls. It's like what John
but
here, you know.
I was thinking though, like you're really like now just browsing your page. It seemed like you read a lot of the current stuff, maybe a lot of the indies and stuff like that. So you're like well read. You know what you're talking about, basically. So I would imagine you would get less of that than I don't know the woman's name on IG, but all her pictures basically, she's got her boobs out. And she actually does have some like old, like killer books, but in my opinion, no one's going to get beyond the, you know, well, I shouldn't say no one, but most of the dudes, they're not going to get beyond that. And it's just like, why though? Like, just post the book, talk about the book. You're not, I'm like, everybody's free to do what they want, but I'm just saying that's, you giving off that kind of vibe. Like, I wouldn't say you give off that vibe, or even Lucy, you know, you guys would be more about in your knowledge and what you're talking about, as opposed to someone who's posting their boobs with a book, and then it's like, well, how am I supposed to take you seriously at that point now? You know.
Here's my thing is that, like, whether we show off our tits or not, we still have tits, we still have boobs. And maybe it's not for me to assume whether that person has read them or not. As a queer woman, as someone who is bisexual, I 100%, I love titties. I enjoy seeing them.
I'm not, but then I still like them.
No,
I like them as well, but when I'm browsing IG for books,
no matter what, whether I am shopping for groceries, no matter if I'm scrolling Instagram, I'm here for it. I love to see it, and I think the world could use a little bit more of it. And as long as it's someone with their own agency saying, like, hey, you know what, here's my tits, then
it's like, well, it's I get what Paul's saying. So I look at it from like if I was to do it, right, I wouldn't do it with my chest, right? I would do it with my groin. So I would wear like some tight ass boxer shorts, right?
The banana.
I actually want to see that
right here. Now let me ask you this: are you gonna if every post of mine, right, is showing?
I will probably definitely unfollow you.
Right, exactly. It's like my crotch, right?
I can follow more.
And I got my book, and then I got some bullshit ass book right next to it, right? And now you're not gonna follow me because of my book. You're not gonna be interested in me because obviously how much you really will. Yes. That's what I'm trying to say with Paul. Now, don't get me wrong. There are guys that think
I ain't following no dudes taking pictures of books
like that are like, you know, the girl with the titty. That's what I want to see. Fuck the book. I want to see some titties. But then you got guys like me and PJ who are like, you know what? That doesn't do it for me. Like, I'm here for the books. Like, I'm interested in the books, not anything else that goes, you know, outside of that. That's why all I post in my feed is my books. You don't see my face. You just see my books. You know what I mean?
And okay, so
that's okay.
I'm just saying.
So how do you get
opinion, right? Okay. But what I want to go back to the crotch thing. You would not take me serious, as let's say Lucy said, she would unfollow me, right? So she would not take me serious as a comic reader or somebody who's into comics when all you see is my lower half and a big bulge, and I'm just holding a comic like.
But some people, like Jensen, some people might be into it. Exactly. Some people might into it, but I wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. Is that it's people like those things because obviously the women who are doing it, obviously there's a reason why they got 8,000, 10,000 followers. You know, it's not because nobody cares.
So here's the thing is what I think that I'm trying to understand from your perspective is that from what you're saying is that people only want to see sexualization in one way because the girl, the female presenting person who is showing off their tits in comic books has a lot more followers than you, correct?
No, that has nothing to do with it. What I'm saying
is not what you're saying, though. You're saying
what I'm saying is evident that people like it because of how many people are following, right? Exactly. It's evident how many people like it, right?
Exactly.
So then, but you're
saying people wouldn't follow it, and I'm saying that your exact point
no, not that people wouldn't follow it
for that very reason.
You really think that people
doesn't mean other people
You really think that if a person, not, and I'm talking about dudes too, because I just put myself in it. Let's not make it a one-sided show here. It's two roles here, right? Two genders. That's how I see it. Two genders.
There's more than two genders.
Right. There is, but biologically, two genders, right?
There's more than two genders.
Right. But like that's right. That's
a whole
that's a whole
other can of worms.
For me,
that show is literally about gender roles, and I'm saying that
I know it's gender roles in the community, but as far as like how they
body parts that showing,
we're talking about
gender roles are different than
none of that stuff, because that's just gonna go into another whole topic. You know what I mean? It's like
that'll be next show.
Right, that's part 2. We're not gonna get into that because you already know where we're gonna go. So. Well, my thing is, what I'm trying to say is that when you take the male and the female, right, and we're doing the same thing, right? We get in these. The reason why I said they get in these followers is obviously because people like that. Now, if they were just posting books, they wouldn't have that many followers, which is guaranteed that, because it's evidence in the pudding. The proof is right there. When you look at a person, obviously, when it becomes sexuality involved, you're gonna get more people to respond to that. You know what I mean? Because you're using sexuality and not actual books. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to. That's why when I said with the followers, has nothing to do with me, because I'm not here for followers. I'm here for the books. That's why I got so many damn books.
It's just an observation, right? It's just foolishness we see. It's not. It's cool.
So
and I comic. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, how you were saying, okay, so how do you, if you don't follow these people, how do you, like, if you see that, like JP, you were saying that you see this girl with her tits out and all that stuff, and the book is just like brilliant picture, how do you come across it? Because you follow her, or because of?
So generally what will happen is
usually it comes up in the
She follows me. She followed me, I'm assuming at some point.
Okay.
I probably quick looked, I saw some books, and so I just followed back. I don't generally do that all the time, but I think this was like a old, probably from like a couple years ago or something, or at least a year ago. So then, as the pictures start to come up, it's like, okay, it's like, all right, well, I'll just unfollow because this is not really what I'm on here for. And like Chicago comic, I think it was.
Oh yeah, yes.
She said about if it's just not for you, it's not for you. Cool. Then no, that's absolutely. That's why there's the unfollow button, or there's the block button or whatever. Yeah. So, and I'm clearly saying that that's not for me, and I'm not like the judge or whatever. I'm just that's my opinion on it. Like if you post in books, I'm here for the books, then it's cool. But I just think that that's like a separate thing. If you're trying to pose half naked, but then also hold a book. And Jen was saying that it's why can't it be both? It can. No, that's obviously a lot of people are into that because they do have a big following. But at the same time, it's like, as I said this term a few weeks ago to a different person, a YouTube dude, and he kind of got bent about it. But basically, like, I would say myself, Morb, in my opinion, our opinion, we're like pure collectors of the books. We're not worried about value. We're not worried about slabs. We're not worried about any of that stuff. We're just about the books. So any of that side stuff is like, I'm going to just look at it like, side-eyed, I guess. It's just not part of, maybe some of that's my age or whatever it is, but it's just, there's so much, there's just so much other things, in my opinion, that you could just like do. Just, it's a comic book community. It's not I can show my junk or my boob with a comic community. That's like to me, that's like a separate
community.
Yeah, just something. It's just a different thing. It's cool. It's just different. It's just not for me, I guess.
If you guys don't mind me asking, I know that this is my interview. I'm here to ask the questions, but if you guys don't mind me asking, how do you feel about comics, say from the, like, especially maybe the 80s and 90s, where women are scantily clad? You don't buy any of those comics. You've never bought any of those comics where women are like scantily clad, and it was a way, maybe their costume was based on a way where they're basically naked but skin tight. So you're telling me you never buy any comics where women are scantily clad?
I bought them, but I bought them because I was like reading Spider-Man monthly. So Todd McFarlane used to draw Mary Jane with big boobs and always with like
you've never bought those?
On. So I did buy them because I was collecting Spider-Man. I bought Daredevil with Typhoid Mary with the weird outfit she had on from John Romita Jr.
So see, that's kind of hard.
Daredevil though, so it's not like that. Put it this way, that wasn't why I bought them. So
that wasn't why we bought it.
You saw it. So I guess my question is that like, because you're like,
you're also talking about when we did we were like 14 years old, so we're at the peak of puberty. You know what I mean? So of course we're gonna see that and react to that, but that's not why we got it. That wasn't
honestly say I never reacted to it.
Like you didn't unfollow it, like because I guess what I'm trying to say is
I
that
wasn't so appalled by it that I was gonna stop reading Spider-Man.
Exactly.
It was like right there was kind of forced. I will say it was kind of.
I mean, what was I gonna do? I was buying the book, and when I opened it up,
you want to know the story, but then it's already there. You can't like not read it because
do I think women were drawn terribly in like the early 90s? Yes. For the most part,
you didn't have an option like they have an option with social media. When social media, you have an option to not follow it.
Right.
But then with reading,
we didn't back then.
You reading, you want to know the story,
and it's not like we agree with it. We were talking earlier about even back in the days, like even with the Golden Age comics, you know, when you had the bullpen, it was just all men dominating that. You know what I mean? And the way they marketed women was like they're just like this, like, oh, save me, you know, weak, or the girlfriend. That's all they never were kicking ass and doing things like when in the 80s they started kicking ass. You know, you had so many characters, Storm, Rogue. I mean, so many amazing women. You know, Mystique. Yeah, they made them sexy and beautiful, but at the same time,
always drawn.
You was drawn to the badass scene when you saw her kicking ass. You know what I mean? You're like, oh shit, like she represented, she held it down. You was waiting for her Rogue to touch something to get super strong and then punch the shit out of somebody. You was like, that's what I'm talking about. She looked dope doing it.
So then what I would say is those ladies that you see on social media who are scantily dressed, who maybe show off, are you finding out their story? Because you sure as
their feed and I look at and try to see if they, you know,
and Rogue, when it was these comic book characters, but when it comes to a real live human being, you're saying I don't want to follow it. You know, they're scantily clad, but when we're saying, oh, it's a comic book,
it's not because they're just scantily clad.
You don't want to find out the story of those women that are scantily clad.
But I think that they're right there.
Scantily clad. That's not what we said. I said there are women who are sexy and know their books. You know what I mean? And that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about
maybe they know their books. Maybe they know their books.
Maybe they don't.
But you would never know that because they don't.
If you never would have known me, you probably think I don't know my books. But you know I know my books.
I know you know your books because
because of my track record, right? So I look at their track record. I'm looking at their posts, their feed. What are they providing? What are they talking about? And if all they're talking about is nothing but themselves and not the book, then I know that it's not about the book. But I'm not talking about your friends. I'm not talking about the girls that are here in the chat talking it up. I'm not talking about them. You know what I mean? And that's just the and see, that's the issue that we have today because we talk about cancel, but you can't cancel somebody's opinion. You can't cancel somebody's preference. You know, and that's what I'm saying. That if I canceled your preference, you wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to be able to understand that not everybody is going to agree with something, but you got to understand why it is that they don't agree. So you could better not judge them for their agreement of why they feel that way. And that's why I love to have the discussion because like, I know you said, you know, that you're bisexual and all. Yeah, my daughter too. She's 24 years old. She's bisexual. I've always talked about it. You know what I mean? I've never had a problem with that. You know, she's been with her lady for many years. You know, and I support that. You know, I've always been there for her. So I'm an advocate about having an open playing field, not about picking and choosing sides. Because when we do that, we get into these mundane like arguments where it's like it's not necessary. But there's a bigger picture on that. It's not us. It's how we were conditioned and programmed to think. Like when we go, like I said, when we think about the 50s and the 60s, you know, oh, the woman stays at home. It was fucked up because the man could abuse her. The man could do all this fucked up shit to her. She had no education, no career. So she had to put up with his shit or she's out in the street with no money. Yes, we acknowledge that. My wife's mom was a homemaker. PJ mom was a homemaker. We've all experienced those things. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say is that it's very important to understand a person where they come from before we try to impose our ideals on them because
I agree. And I'm saying extend that same grace to the hoe you see on Instagram. I'm saying
I do. I do, because I go
You see,
through
there's some of them that you can tell, like there's a lot of them that you can tell that are not, they're not for that. Like Coco Gal said, there's women in IG community that you can tell they're not comic collectors. They are just getting it for
some of it's just a business decision, right?
For the wave, or because they're selling their husband's collection or whatever, and like you said, like, yeah, I mean, I don't think everybody is gonna go message them and ask about it, but like some almost have and they have no clue, and that's like, well, okay, so you're here just to ride the wave of social media, whatever, and there's some
comic wave, or the comic
especially now with all the movies and everything, like it's gonna bring all kinds of people, I guess, to the comic community,
right.
And there's like, like you said, Jen, there's like some, I guess, I don't want to like how would you say, good hoes and the bad hoes. I don't know.
Right.
Like,
you got you got them all. Like, you got corny dudes, you got real dudes. You know what I mean? Y'all talking to two real dudes, and you got these corny motherfuckers that be faking and fronting, don't know shit, and they're out there. And these guys are, people they get this following, like they're amazing. And
it's
you're
like
wondering,
all
like,
fluff, no substance.
Yeah, it's all bluff.
fluff.
And you're like, yo, this guy don't know shit. You know what I mean? He just looks good, has a great voice, and that's it. That's all it takes. You know what I mean? But you got people where, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying nothing wrong with that. Bro, eat it up, ham it up. I hope you fucking blow up. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm not grumpy about it. When people be like, yo, Morbius, yo, you a raw collector. You're not into slide. You don't care about the money. You mishandle your books. You all of this shit and that. And I'm like, bro, I don't give a damn. Like, that's me. That's what I enjoy, is what I love. If you collect slabs, that's you. Amen to you. I still like your pick. It's a dope book. You
that's
might not,
right? It's not like,
hey, I like it anyway.
I ain't trying to cancel these women doing that.
Nah, ain't nobody
it's not
trying
for
to do
me.
that.
It's cool. They're free to go on IG with their
mama. Do you, mama. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just know that we can see through the lies. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Not all of y'all, but we see through the lies. That's all I'm saying. And this is why I want to talk. Just like y'all see through the lies of them dudes fronting, we see it too, man. We see it too. That's all it is. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But,
and then like you said, like, it's like, it's not, sorry, it got so dark. I had my window open and it got super dark now.
Stealth mode.
There's like the saying, like, with guys, there's so many, and not the ones that they get me, I guess, kind of annoy the most for me, and it's not about like sexuality and anything like that, is the ones that they talk so much shit about, like, about other people on the community. It's like, cool, I get it, you posted a few times, you don't like that person, move on. Like, if I'm not the type of person that I'm gonna make a whole post just to hate on Jen or Morbius. I'm not. For me, it's a waste of time, And it's like, that's another thing. It's like, just focus in on you collecting, on your collection. Show me then what it's showing that it's wrong, and show me about what then, if you want, because I'm not an expert in comics, like, I'm still, I say I'm new to comics. I didn't get to comics till 2016, like, and actually collecting 2017. So it's like, I'm not an expert, and I'm still learning as I go. I cannot read all the time because I have kids, like right before here, I had just finished cooking, like, and like, there's different there's going to be different kinds of collectors in this community. There's the ones that most of the time, for me, the covers, they get me, the art, the art, it's that I appreciate and all that. I read a lot of the independent comics, and there you go. There's no way.
Actually, me and PJ disagree with this. There is a wrong way to collect. There are many wrong ways to collect. Actually, if you go pick up Reggie's book, he'll tell you that's a smart way to collect. That's a whole other story.
And it's just like, I mean, yeah, and that's another thing that I tell you, like, I battle with myself, that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be judging, but then if that's the way she wants to do it, then fuck it, let it be, I guess. But then I'm not gonna follow you. I'm not gonna follow you, and I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna be your audience.
Right. There's a difference between judging and having an opinion. Very big difference. When you judge, you're being judgmental. You're putting a person down when you judge.
Okay, I should say that. Then I should use a different word about judging.
No. Because when you like what I have here, what I like to say here is that we have our opinions and we do it respectfully. We speak to each other. We rebuttal respectfully. You know what I mean? We say how we feel, but we do it respectfully without disrespecting or judging anybody. Because at the end of the day, like we said, we all have different perspectives. We all come from different backgrounds, different eras, different everything. And so it's normal to have a different idea or different ideology to what the next person has, but at least have at least to be humble enough to sit there and be like, all right, what do you got to say? But when you're coming down on somebody, when you're like, yo, this person, this, that, because I've had that a lot, where I've reached out to people. Nice, she's bright. So I reached out to people and I'm like, yo, bro, like, what's your beef with this person? Because me, I'm very blunt, I'm very forward. I don't know if y'all noticed. But and I hit people in their DMs and I'm like, yo, I saw you coming at this. What's going on? What's the beef, bro? Because I'm cool with him. I'm cool with you. What's going on? And then they'll come up with some stupid ass shit. And I'm just like, all right, never mind.
See, but then at the same time, look,
bro.
You see, like at the same time, like I said, I battle with my own things that I say. Like, okay, you're saying that, right? Like, but then that person who's also like, I try to see everybody's side, like I try to like, I like, okay, for us or for you guys, like saying that it's kind of, how do I put it into words? Let me, I guess.
You know what? Before we continue with this, because remember, guys, I wanted to also talk about, how the roles are being changed also in the movies, in upcoming shows and comics. I know we spoke about a little backstage. I know, Jen, you wanted to touch on that a little bit. But I do want to talk about that, as we know a lot of the male characters are being transitioned out, with the women. And, I'm talking about Batman, Superman, everybody is starting to get, phased out. And to me, it's I get it. I understand it. And it's great. And you better have a great fucking story behind it. You know what I mean? Because this better not be Ghostbusters with when they had all the women cast. It was the women could have pulled it off, but they wrote a horrible story. They had a bullshit budget. You know what I mean? The movie just sucked. It had nothing to do with the women involved. And that's something that a lot of people always say, oh, because all the women. No. Power to the queens. I love my queens. But make sure that you write a good story for them. Make sure you give them a good theme, a good movie that they could catapult off, and not just throw me a woman because you just want to put a woman in front of me and say woman power, Like, see, that for me doesn't do any good for our women. All it does, it makes the men be like, oh, you see, the women can't fucking do it. You see, it fucking soft.
I agree. I think that ends up being almost a like self-fulfilling prophecy because for me, I'm like, I would love to see, I would love to see myself represented on TV and movies, whether that's a superhero, whether, whatever it is. But I also want to make sure that I see myself in the director's chair. I want to see myself in the producer chair. I want to see myself as a writer. So I don't just want to see myself up on the screen. And I think that when we do have more women, and more representation behind the scenes, we're going to see more true and authentic characters that we can relate to. And I do believe that even though the Ghostbusters movie did have it had a fantastic female cast, like Leslie Jones and all those women are a fantastic.
They're amazing. Like, look, like even right here, they were funny. They came through, but the movie, that
movie was not a good movie.
It was not a good movie. They wrote a bullshit movie because they were trying to prove a point that it fell flat on his face. And it was like, if you just would have gave us a good movie, everything else would have not mattered, bro.
But I think that
an adult movie.
What also ends up happening, like I said, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because then it's like we have one female-fronted movie, like say we have Captain Marvel, and I enjoyed the Captain Marvel movie. I know a lot of people did not like the Captain Marvel movie. And for whatever, that's fine if you didn't like the Captain Marvel movie. But I think that when I think of how many shitty male lead movies there have been, men are allowed to fail. We are allowed to have male movies that have a male, star in it, written by men, directed by men. And we don't say, well, the men had their one shitty movie they're not allowed to have anymore, where it's like women have like one shitty movie because that's the only one we've been allowed to have. And it's like, we can't have any more female representation in movies because we gave them that one and they failed.
Well, what do you mean, like in comedy, or because I mean,
I think in everything.
Because I think other ones about, especially that again, horrible memory. I don't remember, but it was about the woman that they helped NASA and all that stuff, and there were women of color. Yes, and I haven't watched it, but I heard it was amazing, and all that stuff. So I feel like there has been like great movies. And like Still Magnolias and stuff like that. Like there's, oh my god, which one is it? The one with Rosie O'Donnell and what's her name? Nicole Richie. Like Now and Then, I think that's the name of it.
I love that movie.
I love that movie. And I think there's amazing movies out there with women, and they're but
I'm specifically thinking about like female superheroes.
I mean, look at Jennifer Lopez. How many flops did she make? Salute to Jennifer. She from the
BX. She has really good movies too.
The Cell was a fantastic underrated movie. But
outside of Cell, she made how many more with Ben Affleck? That movie, that shit flopped. That shit, and they kept giving her movies. But see, that's what I mean. It's like, oh, hold on. That's what I mean. It's just.
I have a question though about
somebody made a comment also. They were like, oh, I forgot who it was. I wanted
comics for female enjoyment versus male enjoyment. What's it?
Right, women enjoyed it, but then you know what? Then get on your sisters, get on your queens, and they should have got their asses off their sofas, and should have went to the movies, because it's the budget, what it made is what shows how it flopped. So if women were not supporting that movie, just as men support their movies,
but there's a lot of women that they said they support other women, and there's not a lot of support.
And there's not a support.
For example,
I mean? So it's like, we can't put that on the men. If the women liked it, then the women should have been out there supporting that movie and showing that it is a movie that it relates to women. So we should make more movies like that. You know what I mean? But if we're not presenting that, they're not going to continue making those movies because it's not making money. And it's about the bottom dollar. If it doesn't make money, they ain't going to continue making it. So that comment, when I saw, I was like, you know what? That makes sense. But then again, at the other token, it's like we gotta remember that we can't put the blame of women not supporting on men. Like, it's like the women need to support just like men do. You know what I mean? Like they that term, your wingman. You know what I mean? There's a reason why we got wingman, because we're so supportive of our dudes. Like if we go out to a club and I'm talking to a girl, she could want nothing to do with me, and she's looking at PJ. Instantly in my mind, I'm like, yo, PJ, it's you. PJ, it's you, bro.
Yeah, but there's a lot that
we support each other. But I'm just joking. I'm making a joke, guys. But you know what I mean? I'm just trying to make a metaphor out of it. That I think that was a dope comment, because that opened up, a thought in my mind where it was like, man, like, yeah, you're right. We need, if you guys like that, then you know what? Let them know so we can see more of that.
I don't think that it's on women to support shitty movies. Like but
she made it seem like the movie was good. What Comic Girl said, she enjoyed it.
But
she
if
enjoyed it.
Like, you need to go support that like female-led movie because it's females. And I'm like, if it wasn't a good movie, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say it wasn't a good movie.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and then I think it's just like, and it's going to be with both. There's like, men are gonna make bad movies, women are gonna make good movies,
Exactly. It's just gonna, but I'm not gonna lie. Yes, we do live in a male-dominated society. I'm not gonna lie. It is so fucking true. You know what I mean? And because of it, we have our women who are, you know, our backbone. You know, if you believe it or not, you know, we lean on our queens. You know what I mean? As a man, you know, as having a wife, you know, we lean on our wife, you know, for moral support, because as a man, we take a lot of burden. I know a woman, they have a lot to deal with when it comes to sexuality and all that stuff, but we have a lot on our shoulders where we have an expectation now that women are like, oh, you got to make certain amount, you got to do this, you got to do that to be able to get with me and to support me and to handle me. So that's a burden on us. And it's like, we think like, okay, so what you bringing to the table? You know what I mean? I'm bringing all this to the table, what you bringing to the table, but that's not, it's like what I say. It's like a joke, right? That when the boat is sinking, what they say, the women and children first.
So if you don't mind me, I mean,
it's like this fucked up, right? It's like fucked up. It's like, damn, we got to take that burden. We got to sink with the ship, you know. And I'm not saying that.
He went away.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's right. Run away. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Can't take the heat.
Yeah, run away. Kick you out of your own show.
If I know him, it's because his battery died. That's
no. Oh, and we're almost done. 5 minutes. Let's see if he can get back.
I know, man. I swear, his whatever computer he's using is like it's like timed that 1 hour perfect.
Yep.
But
so I mean, PJ, maybe do you share the same sentiment? Like, do you feel like you have this expectation on you is maybe just this isn't comics, but you know?
No, I feel the expectation. Well, I mean, so like separate subject, kind of what it was veering into about just being a man on that. My obligation was just trying to be a good person as far as like what I need to
Morbius got canceled.
Yeah, he did, man. They dropped him. So I mean, I don't know if I don't know if I'm going to go that far with that kind of angle.
Well, see, I think that saying
I just try to be a good dude, you know.
Yeah, and that saying is like it goes back, and now it's like I feel like everything's 50-50, you know, like, and again, we're like completely off the comic books, you know, like in my house, my husband, like, he helps me clean, he does laundry, he does cooking, he does everything. Yeah. It's half.
I work, my wife works, so there's no like.
Yeah, now I am a stay-at-home mom, you know, and not because like I should stay at home, it's because it was a smart move and cheaper than pay somebody to watch our kids, you know, like
we had some conversations that were pretty close like that too, but
yeah, but it's, you know, I mean, times are changing. They have changed, not changing. They have changed, you know, like now I feel like in comics, like when I first started, like, and I know, like we have talked about this many times in other shows, that how they will see women inside a comic book store, and my kid is already in the fridge. Get out of there. And you know, and now like I feel like they see more women in comic books now. They are putting more books of women superheroes and stuff like that, whether they're good or bad, you know. They're getting acknowledged, you know. And
I'm back.
You know,
there we go.
He's back.
Sorry about that.
But I mean, it's just it's you know, times have changed, and now whether men like it or not, women are part of the community, and they have to suck it up.
I agree. And I think maybe even just to like reel it back into maybe like the original conversation that we were having, I think that my opinion is that women are part of this community, whether we're scantily clad or not. A lot of times we will be treated not so great, whether we are scantily clad or not. And for me, my whole channel, my whole like what I want to bring to the table is that comics are for everyone. There's a book out there for everyone. There's a book that everyone can be enjoying. And whether it is your first book, maybe it's your first book and you're like, you know what, I'm going to pose, you know, in my sluttiest cosplay costume outfit with this comic book. You know, maybe someone got into the game because of cosplay and they haven't even read the book yet. You know, I'm here to bring anyone in who, the more comics that get read, the more comics that get bought, I think is better for the industry overall.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and like you said,
just to clarify though, because when you started saying that, I just want to say, It's not just women scantily clad. I wouldn't follow no dude with scantily
clad.
Well, there's plenty of dudes. You know, my wife tells me, because when I tell her, I'm like, "Yo, look at this person." She's like, "Yeah, look at this."
Exactly.
There's a whole bunch of dudes doing it too.
I'm just about the books.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So let's
see, and I shouldn't say just women. I should say there's more than others, you know, not just women. It's different kinds of people. Like, and I don't know if I'm saying it right, but there's, you know, all kinds of genders. That's right. I don't know. Like now in this community, and not only they're part of the community, they're writing about them too, and you know, like myself, I'm not very knowledgeable, I guess, of a lot of the things that now they're more out there, and I'm learning, you know. So I mean, there's a little bit of everything for everybody out there, but I mean, there's some stuff that we're not gonna like, and there's some stuff that, you know, other people like, and I guess we're gonna have to suck it up.
And it's like you said, you know, it's not, my thing is like, there's nothing wrong to have opinions, because if we didn't have opinions, you know, we'll still be hanging right now. You know what I mean? So somebody had the opinion to say, hey, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Like, hanging people is not a good idea. So I think there's nothing wrong with having an opinion. When we judge people and we cancel people because of their opinion, that's the problem. And I think that we need to stop doing that, because just because somebody doesn't conform to your opinion doesn't mean that they don't like you or can't get along with you. That does not mean that. You know, what it means is that we are two individual people with two ideologies and two different perspectives that happen to live on the same planet and we happen to love the same thing, books. Yeah. We enjoy books. And I think that's what's important. We need to remember that and try not, that's why it's important to have this discussion, because we need to remember not to disassociate ourselves from people just because we don't agree with the same thing. Now, if it's something that is going to hurt people, you know, if it's somebody that's like, yeah, I want to kill that person because they're gay or because they're black or because, yeah, bro, we got a problem.
That's not hearing someone else's opinion. Like that's
now that's totally like, it goes back to the judging and you know, now you're trying to hurt somebody physically. You're being violent about it. I'm not dealing with that, you know. But if you just have a general opinion where you're like, hey, this is how I feel about that, but I'm okay with that, you know, as long as it's not going to interfere, like you're not going to hurt me by saying it or something like that. Because people feel threatened. People feel threatened by sharing their opinion because of now the way society is, that if you express yourself a certain way, you're instantly the enemy. And it's like, no, that's back in the days. Like on the block, the way I was introduced, right? It was Francisco. There was Francisco, right? That was the dude, Francisco. He put me on to the whole gay society. You know, I'm 14 years old, smoking a blunt. We're chilling on the corner in the Bronx. Here come Francisco. He lived on the block. Everybody knew he was gay. Everybody knew, you know what I'm saying? But he was a cool ass. He would come up, roll up with us. We would smoke with him. We'd be like, yo. And then he started talking crazy. And then, you know, us would be like, yo, bro, chill, tone it down. Like, chill. You're getting a little too explicit. You know what I'm saying? Like, tone it down now. But there was never no animosity, never no hate. We would say shit like, hell no, I wouldn't do that shit. And he'd be like, oh, whatever, nigga, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? I'll put it in my mouth. You know what I mean? And we'll be like, oh, hell no, I won't do that. But it was okay. He wasn't like, oh, forget y'all. Y'all hating on me. Y'all telling me y'all anti-gay. Like, no, bro. It's just that's just my preference. You cool as dude. If I saw somebody bullying him, and it's happened, and don't get me wrong, Francisco threw his hands, bro. Don't play with Francisco. He'll put it on you. You know what I'm saying? But there were times where, you know, dudes would get stupid. We'd be like, yo, what's the problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my man. He live in the building. Like, that's my boy. We grew up with him. Like, what's good? You know what I mean? Like, back the fuck up. You know, but at the same time, we respected each other. Just because we had different point of views and different perspectives on our preferences, it didn't mean I did not like him as a person, or he didn't respect us as a person, because he knew where we stood and he knew our history. We grew up together. You know what I mean? So I feel like we kind of lost that in our society today. You know what I mean? I feel like we need to get back to that, where it's okay to have a difference of opinion without being disrespectful and without causing any type of malice or violence towards a person, because obviously we see it all the time. People want to, they talk about it, they get in an argument, next you know, I'll fuck you up, you fucking this and that, and you're like, what the hell, where did this go? You know what I mean? Let's just have a conversation about it. You know,
I agree with architectural. Yeah.
Exactly. We bring everybody together for real. We need to legalize that worldwide. So, but definitely, man, you know, I feel like this is why I love having these shows, man. We definitely got to have a part 2. You know what I mean? We got to come back. Well, I do want to do a women's night where I'm going to have you two ladies here and I'm going to have a whole bunch of other women up on here.
Are you sure? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get it in. We're gonna get it in. You know what I mean? It's gonna be about you guys because I do want to represent the women in our community because they're not being represented, you know, as they should. You know, and all facets, okay? All facets of our women, you know what I mean? But you gotta read your
I'm gonna
book.
wear my skimpiest outfit.
Man, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You know, but definitely, you know, I had a great time. I know we're a little past the hour. You know, thank you for everybody who was in the chat. I apologize if I wasn't highlighting your post. I was just so engaged in the conversation.
Yeah,
you know,
some of these comments are really
oh yeah,
no man, they took it to another level. But
yeah, a lot of people were taking it somewhere. That's why I was like,
yeah,
we're not trying to go there. That's not what we're trying to do.
Societal,
you know what I mean?
You know,
that's not the conversation we were trying to have. You know, and but
it's
at the end of the day, man. I appreciate everybody. You know, thank you for everybody who was here. Thank you for everybody who was open-minded and able to, you know, understand the conversation we was having, you know, because we're not judging nobody. We just have our opinions and we just want to discuss these opinions with people who have a difference of opinion so we could grow on that, build on that, and become a better person because that's what it's all about. You know, when you could share with somebody and still be yourself at the same time, that's a genuine, that's what I love to see. You know, and we grow, man. Oh, shout out to the person I was just talking about earlier, man. Just got to catch the replay. What up, Rage? You know what I mean? That's the AKA Keanu Reeves. So we shout out to Ray. That's the homie. I gotta bust his balls, man. I love Ray. You know what I mean? That's the homie. But yeah, so definitely, ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You so much for coming on here and taking a part in this because I know there was. You know, it's a touchy topic. You know what I mean? It really is. But I think that is something that we need to continue to discuss. I will definitely build with you guys.
Now I'm going to go and do my show, Comic Book Woman.
There you go. And don't forget, you know, hashtag Grumpy Old Man. You got PJ and Morb, you know, and Morbius, as you already know. But once again, thank you guys so much for being there. Thank you for everybody that was hanging out with us. Appreciate you guys. And of course, you already know we'll catch you next week. Next week on the show, I got Kwame, the hip hop legend himself. If y'all don't know who Kwame is, go Google him. He came out with the song Rhythm with the whole polka dot era. Y'all remember the whole polka dots back in the days? That was Kwame who set that off. You know what I mean? So he's a collector as well. He collects comics. He collects figures. He's a big Godzilla, you know what I mean, enthusiast. So I'm excited to have him on next week. You know, and the following week after that, we got DJ Wiz from Kid and Play. Y'all remember Kid and Play? Everybody remember Kid and Play from back in the day. So I got DJ Wiz coming back for part 2. And y'all already know, man. Hopefully we see y'all there. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Y'all